Assalamu alaikum. This is a very quick lesson in regards to what I had just been teaching you in the previous lesson of Surah Buruj. I was advising you to not be a blind follower and not to just believe everything you read regarding tafsir from wherever or from whomever. Use your depth perception. And that's not going to happen unless you know Arabic. So once again, learn Arabic. I'm giving you an example right here of something I sensed and felt for a very long time and did my due diligence in learning Arabic, reading tafsir, and still saying to myself, no, stick with what Allah has allowed you to comprehend away from others. And here it is. One verse, and I'm going to give it to you now from Surat An Nisaa, and it is verse 65. I'll read it in Arabic and then I'll tell you what it revealed to me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فلا وربك لا يؤمنون حتى يحكموك فيما شجر بينهم ثم لا يجدوا في أنفسهم حرجا مما قضيت ويسلموا تسليما. I'll give you my translation. You can look it up if you want. Surat An Nisaa. By your Lord, they will not believe until they make you the judge with what is, here's the word, shajara bainahum, a conflicting issue amongst them. Thumma then la yajidu fi anfusihim, they will not find between themselves any shyness of what you have decreed. وَيُسَلِّمُ تَسْلِيمًا. So now I will open up verse 65 and tell you what the translation says. And when you see what the translation says, it's fine, but it doesn't really give you what I'm going to give you right now. But know by your Lord, they will not believe until they make you a judge concerning that over which they dispute among themselves. That's the word here, dispute, shajara. And then find within themselves no discomfort from what you have judged and submit in full submission. Okay, good. But still, where am I going with this? The story of Adam in Surah Baqarah, getting the meanings of the words, and then having to be put out of the paradise because he was listening to the whisperings of Satan. Now, we learned as Catholics that Eve, his wife, tempted him to eat from a forbidden tree. And unfortunately, that lie came into Islam. It was not a tree. You see, shajara has a meaning of tree, but it also has a meaning of arguing. Now, if you go through, as I did years ago, wondering about this, because it's been on my mind for ever since I was a Muslim. I became with the Shahada and all. I was born a Muslim, but these things were on my mind. So I looked, after I learned Arabic, I was home and I had my full 16 volumes of Ibn Kathir Muhaqqaq of tafsir. And I searched for the tafsir about the tree and the fruit, the apple. They taught us it was an apple. No, there was no apple. There was no fruit. There were no fruit trees. It's not there. And Ibn Kathir is the best and the most comprehensive of all of the tafsir. You know, the earliest. And if you can't find it in Ibn Kathir, it's probably not there. Well, it wasn't there. So that's when I thought, well, what was the problem? If it's not a tree that somebody ate a fruit from it, I know it was disobeying a law, but what could have been the prohibition? Could it be arguing? If we all look in the mirror and we know the warnings of how many times Prophet Muhammad has said to us to leave it to Allah, do not be argumentative. Do not always think you're right. Do not pressure people to see it the way you do, and just let it go. Leave it to Allah, and He will fix it in His way. Now, I have on a previous lesson how I met this sheikh from Azhar in Cairo, and we were at a symposium of the hijab, the niqab, etc. It's on my thread somewhere. And I told him what I found. This was long ago when I first wore the niqab. And he said, who told you that? And I said, nobody. I just figured it out. And he said, we say, Idi Yamin Lillah, I swear to you by Allah, Idi Yamin Lillah. We're not supposed to do this a lot. It's only for big, big deals. I think this one deserves it. He had his red hat on too, which I don't like. It looks like the Vatican, but anyway, I've got lessons on that too. Maybe he's forced to do it. It's Egypt after all. He said, who told you that? And I said, I just figured it out, that it means arguing. And they argued, and they disobeyed Allah, and they were sent down. I don't want to say kicked out. There's a lot of controversy on whether or not it was something as a punishment or whether it was a decree that they were meant to leave after they had whatever. They were out. And when he asked me who taught me that, and I said no, and he said, the Nasr of Islam is going to come from America. He's not the first person who's told me that. And it only has to do with freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly. It hasn't to do with any form of being better than anyone or stronger than anyone or nicer than anyone or more fair than anyone. No. Just leave us alone, all humans. Let us speak. It's in the Constitution, right? Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly. And Allah is going to bring forward from His massive wisdom those whom He deems fit. Remember, He tells you in the Quran, don't praise yourselves. Oh, I think something just, hold on. I don't know if you can still hear me, but they're telling me my battery is low again. Here we are. Let's go back. Oh my goodness.